I'm doing some more work on this blueprint here. Today I want to add in freelook. So I was chatting with a coworker about that. Okay, so back to camera. Have a look mode boolean. Already have inputs. Mouse for pitch. Y'all. How can have added a branch the action based on the mode. Do I sitting here in my bed? I got a glass of eggnog here, watching some cartoons on TV. Eggnog and brandy. Sensitivity settings for freelook to allow the player to adjust it. Okay, so for I am add local rotation. So let's go to the viewport and check out how this spring arm is oriented. Alright, so we want to be able to rotate around the Y and the Z axis. Its default rotation is 0, 0, 0. Okay, that's easy enough. So if we go back to our event graph, this is y'all. Yeah, that makes sense. Something like this, perhaps. Hey, alright. Now we just have to have it snap back to its original. Need to do some cleanup in this blueprint too. Um, let's see. So to be um Um, Camera rotation start. Something like this, and then mhm, something like this. Let me just do auto. It looks good. Now we go back. Oh wait, hang on. Let's name that track. Um, okay, that's better. And then back out here. Put this in here. Let's try it. All right, and now I can. Excuse me. Nice. It's honestly a little too slow. It could have gone back in like a second and it would have been fine. Maybe, but that's just a timing issue. The functionality seems to work, so that's good. Let's set you to time of one. Let's set this whole thing to one. Oops. Alright, we can't hit Alt and space. That's a hotkey for something. So I put some like simple stuff here for like some warp visibility. So like if I back up, you'll be able to see because right now it's when the line intersects the influence zone and you're holding down a key. So I have like a key I can hold down, right? And while that's intersecting the gravity zone of that planet, it will highlight the planet. And if there's a planet highlighted, I can hit another button to have the autopilot warp me there. And then if I'm inside the influence zone of the planet and I hit it, it will warp me out of the influence zone. There's still a lot of work to be done here, but like I just wanted to get some basics in place, you know? And that's really important because when you're in the influence zone, you actually can't go very fast at all. And when you're out of it, you can go very fast. So that's the next thing that I notice is that my HUD is not updating when I'm not in the influence zone. So there's some wire crossed here because that should be updating every frame no matter what. So let's go to our tick component. I think we're gonna have to clean this up. All right. I think that's a good use of our time here is to organize this segment because our tick is getting more complicated. I mean, we accomplished the free look basically. All right, so I'm thinking start at the bottom or the top. Let's start at the top here. Begin play. Let's give it some space. Um, all right, that looks good. Now this is a big fat mess. The entire graph. For what? What do you want to? There's a lot of graphs going on. This is a work in progress, but it's like a spaceflight model. Sorry, I'm on my laptop, so I have to like open this to see chat. So I only check it occasionally. So I didn't see your message initially, but I can kind of show you what's going on here. So um actually, you know what? I'm in the process of reorganizing this, right? And I'm gonna have to go through the entire graph step by step to do that. So we're gonna, and right now, if I showed it to you, it's just spaghetti. It would be really hard to interpret. So hopefully, after I straighten all this up, you'll kind of have an idea of what's going on. But like, so this is just my initialization stuff. So on begin play, we're possessing the pawn, spaceflight pawn, attaching an input system mapping, and spinning off a timer to update our heads up display, which right now is just some text that gets displayed on this screen. Um, this on possession, we're attaching our spaceflight HUD widget to the viewport, and on being unpossessed, we're removing it. So that's what I've reorganized so far, but we're about to do the tick event, which is this kind of monster here. So um, let's just start it. All right, so sequence 0 is here. I pull up this one and then I'll be able to tell what it's attached to. So this is keeping track of a lot of stuff because I have logic in here that ties your movement to the influence zone you're in, and I can kind of show you what I'm talking about by running it. Um, so if I possess my spaceflight pawn here, haven't done any work on the model or anything. So I just added in freelook, right, so that I can do this while we're moving around. So if I hold down B, I go into kind of a warp mode where it'll highlight any planets that I'm like aiming at. Basically, if my forward vector intersects their gravity influence sphere. And that's what I mean by like the influence zone. But that zone does some stuff. Um, I need to fix the, like, it's only updating the velocity and force and stuff when I'm in the zone right now. So you'll see once I get close enough to the planet to get picked up that those will update. But I'm going to fix that when I'm working on the tick function just now. But what it basically does is allow us to go from going really, really fast to a more manageable speed here without, like, obviously you would just fly right through the planet if you were gassing it this whole time and there wasn't something to slow you down forcefully. So what the gravity influence zone does is it adds gravity to you based on like actual gravitational math, right? So that's that gravitational force there. As I get closer to the planet, that gets higher, and you can see like eventually we'll hit our terminal velocity here once we slow down to it. So you can see our terminal velocity is about right now 1.2 kilometers a second. We have our gravitational force being applied and we're falling. And then it also increases the dampening as you get closer to the surface, which is like your wind resistance, sort of. Um, and then the other thing it does is it makes it so that my top speed is manageable for like the planet LOD generation stuff to be able to keep up with it. So like if I go down to the surface here, and actually it's probably easier to show in wireframe. So as we move, it's generating, denser mesh off in the distance. And then the other thing that we have is like a warp out function. So I can press this and it'll autopilot warp me out of the influence zone. We'll be able to see that here. And then we're outside of the gravity again. And if I wanted to warp back, I can hold down this button and then do the warp and it'll warp me back in. So you can either fly in and it'll automatically slow you down when you get close to the planet, or you can have it warp you to it, assuming you're looking at it and pressing a specific button. I haven't done a lot of work on the GUI for this at all. In fact, I just started working on it yesterday. So, like, the HUD is literally just text on the screen and like a little quick Fresnel material that I threw around the sphere to do the like highlighting, the warp target highlighting, which I'll obviously have to improve. But it's enough for me to kind of debug it. And with that, let's go back to untangling spaghetti. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so this is like a naive way for me to handle this, because we're most likely going to be inter overlapping at any point with multiple influence zones. They're just, I'm not right now because I haven't set up more than one in my scene. But you would most likely be inside of a star influence zone, inside of a galaxy influence zone, inside of a planet influence, like a planet inside a star, inside a galaxy. So I'm going to have to have more complex logic handling this than just pick the first one in the list and do something with it. But for now, for getting like kind of a proof of concept working, I think it's fine. Stuff. Okay, that's the completed block. And then this. Yep, there we go. So we flag that we're not in an influence zone because we need to be able to track that in subsequent steps. We cast the object. If we successfully were able to cast one of our overlapping actors as an influence zone, we flag inside influence zone true. We invoke the get gravity force function, which is just a blueprint function we wrote to basically query the influence zone for the gravity force that the actor would be experiencing at a given point. Then we have to get dampening as well, which is another blueprint function that does something similar. You can see we're operating off the world location here. And then here we go, here we go, here we go. And then we update our flight model data with these forces that we just calculated from the gravity influence zone. And I think we may... We'll do it like this for now. I don't think this. I'm not sure this casting here is good. I think I maybe need to set it in an instance variable, but we'll leave it for now. Ship container. All right, no need to have two of those. Okay. Flight model. Break it. All right, so then let's see. So we've got our object radius times the Okay, I see. So this is the distance between our ship and our influence zone center. And it's the difference between the radius, and it should actually be maxed with 0. Can't have lower than 0 altitude. And then pull all this over. Decrease spaghettiness. It needs to go up 1 notch. Yeah, there. Okay. Ah, I see. I thought of this actually. I just didn't do it. Vector. Current vector. That's just going to be a get veloc. Put in velocity. All right, so now we should have a speed limit even when, or we should have a speed set on our simple HUD even when we're not in the influence zone. That was, I added the hooks for it, I just didn't do it. Yeah, there we go. All right, so now we can see how fast we're going. (20,000 kilometers a second). And that's going to make it easier to tell what happens when we enter the influence zone too. And we get that nice smooth transition to like planet planet speed flying. And more back out. All right, let's see. So that clears that up. Next, we need to see what happens next. So this is next. This is clamping us. Yeah, so this is clamping our velocity to our max speed. And we're setting our max speed here. Okay, yeah, that's right. Okay. Seems fine. And finally down here, what is this doing? I don't even remember. Range, true, false, ship forward line trace. Ah. So this is what's turning on and off the visibility of that little highlighting sphere based on a line trace from the ship. All right, so this is um, highlight warp targets. This is clamp maximum velocity. This is Dave. Oh, it already looks much better. Oops. Shit. All right, nice. So that covers some of those. Next up, okay, this is roll. Go. Okay. Yaw slash free look. You know. Oops. So, like, basically, these are like this is handling the role inputs. It's all coming from input bindings. This is handling yaw, obviously, but also because yaw and pitch are part of freelook, it's actually also handling that if we're in that mode. So, like, you press that mode, you go out of controlling the ship's yaw and pitch, and then you're controlling the freelook camera's yaw and pitch. All right, so next, cleaning up and organizing. Cleaning up and organizing. Okay, you here, you here. It's about right. Here. Okay. And then right under that, this one. Trying to align it mostly with the other one as well. Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. Oh, no, 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 no. Take it back. It takes it back. Alright. Let's come down here. This was probably not well placed on the other one. Gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Hello. What's up, dude? Sorry, like I said earlier, I'm on a laptop, so I have to alt tab to see messages. So it may take me a second to reply, but if I see them, I will. Um, all right, this is just simple here. This is just x axis thrust. Y axis. We kind of finished adding free looks, so I'm just kind of cleaning up. Know what I'm saying? Cleaning up the blueprint a bit. There's a lot of spaghetti going on. Make it a little bit less spaghetti. A little bit more lasagna, a little bit less spaghetti. Alright. Now, warp is done. It's right here. Warp mode. This is handling the freelook mode toggle as well as the reversion to the original rotation. Damn it. Stupid sneezes. Okay, put this here. Put this here. Put this. Um, that camera rotation refresh. Oops. Come on. God damn it. There we go. There we go. Then we have our warp logic. It needs cleaning up as well. So, warp to influence zone triggered warp mode is on. Set that. This. I'm gonna make like a function like get most relevant influence zone that'll handle more than one a little bit more gracefully than this would. But I don't need to worry about that till I start constructing like a solar system basically, and we're still working on the planet. So here we go, forward line trace, beautiful, and then pull you back. All right, so this is warp 2 influence zone. This is warp out of influence zone. Out of influence zone. Equal to 2, then out. These not being used. And then warp to location can go right here. Warp mode toggle can go here. Free look camera mode. We can put that under or maybe at the top of our rotation stuff. Hey, that's much better. That looks much, much nicer. So what actions we got left here? Interact, boost. Boost shouldn't be too hard. Oops. Come on. Come on. Yeah. So now we have our tick events, our initialization, our navigation, like our actual like apply things to the ship, and our warp like autopilot stuff. That's a lot better. So let's see, we did free look, we fixed the HUD display of speed when not in an influence zone. We have the influence zone stuff working. I think it would make sense. Okay. Um, get relevant. All right. Actually, what we want to do is build it. I'm actually gonna close this, delete this. We'll just build it here and then make it into a function. It's gonna be easier. So there we go. Where's my get over? This is this for loop that I really didn't like that I was talking about. We're gonna fix that right now. So that's this logic. So the reason I'm doing these reroute nodes, is because this. No, not because of this. Delete, delete, please. Delete this comment, please. There we go. Okay. Control. Uh, collapse the function. There we go. Oh, we can't. What's the message? Too many outputs. Okay. That's fine. Um, collapse the function. There we go. That way we get the right inputs and outputs on this. And go in here. Now we'll name this get most, uh, get relevant influence zone. All right. This is going to let us use local variables. Cur, min, influence, zone, size. No, no, no. Damn it. How do I get float max? Uh, how can I get float max? Max FLT. So that's exactly what I want to use it for. Okay, so all right. Meow. 689. Okay. We'll keep going, yo. 57973. Jesus fucking Christ, that's a big number. Okay. And more. No, 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 no. Do not delete the giant number. Okay, that's got to be float max. So we set this. All right. Get influence radius is less than. If this is less than this, set this to this. No, no, no. Yeah, we set it. And this. Finally, we need. No, I didn't mean to do that. Set. Hmm. All right, so we do it like this. That means that now we should always just be getting the smallest influence zone that we overlap with. So if we were inside a star influence zone and a planet influence zone, we should only get the planet influence zone out. Doesn't matter how many actors we've got here. This would be here. All right, compile, compile. Now we can go back out to here. Delete this, delete this. Everywhere we're doing the ugly for loop, which is like here. this. So we're gonna want to branch here. Let me think about this. Let me think about this for a bit. Now that I have the for loop happening internally, I don't need this anymore. Instead, okay, so we do this. We're getting rid of. Oh God, there's so much. All right, let's just. Excuse me. I just deleted it. Okay, delete that. Delete this. Delete this. I mean, we're still doing all that shit. It's just buried in a thing now. So we check to see if we're in an influence zone. If we are, we need the gravity and dampen force. I'm gonna remove this. So we're gonna set that in a moment. Yeah, we actually can do is just move this up a smidge, right? Move this up a smidge. Wait, no. This one wants to happen at the end. Okay, so if I'm just setting, okay, this is fine. So right here, we can get this right here, right? And we can set it directly into output. These are all things that get set by the influence zones. All right. And now I don't need this because we already did it. All right, so we set it in output. Then okay. Shouldn't need this anymore. And then finally, after all this is done, actually, uh, we do have to do a false here. This one will always happen, but we need to reset max speed and output. Finally, one more of these. Just copy, paste, delete. We can actually do this before we even go into the other stuff. All right, that should do it, I think. All right. So now we set our velocity no matter what. We check to see if we're in the influence zone. We set our flag. If our flag is true, we get the gravity, dampening, and max speed coefficients. We update the relevant attributes in our flight model. Then we break our flight model, apply the gravitational force and the linear dampening to our ship container. If it's not true, we reset our flight model's max speed and output values to whatever the default are. And what else? Like if I'm not in the zone, then I don't have to do anything else, I think. Okay, great. Next. So that refactors this whole thing. Now I need the other. Yeah. This actually makes sense here. Max velocity. Yeah. There's. Yeah, here it is. Which one is doing the line trace? Ship container. Uh, nice. This cuts out a ton. Wonderful. All right, and then down here, doing the same thing. Uh, get relevant influence zone. Ship container. Boom. Branch. Boom. Back to the event graph. There we go. There we go. Okay. The line trace thing makes sense. I think that might just about cover it. All right, it worked. Oh, it built. It built at least. I don't know if it worked or not. Let's find out. Seems to work. can back out of the influence zone like this. Okay. Hang on. In the logic where we, yeah, right here, reset those as well. We face like a race condition basically where like we were doing this on the frame tick and we moved out while we still had a little tiny bit of dampening. Where my drink at? There it is. Ugh. All right. All right. So we got free look in place. We got everything else. We also updated our logic on the mesh generation. We fixed a crash, or not a crash, but a breakpoint that we were hitting that we're not hitting anymore. Pretty good progress today, actually. Let's see. Save this. Just thinking. So, the next, like, I'm hesitant to start the next part because I'm afraid it's going to be a huge rabbit hole, but I need to start combining these disparate elements that I have in the scene, the sky atmosphere component, gravity influence zone, planet actor, into like a managing blueprint because I need, or I don't need it. Like nobody needs any of this shit, right? But I would like to, when I warp, be able to tell the planet blueprint to do something. So like if I hit B here and then I press my warp button and I get aligned and then warped, right? I want to be able to have it generating the geometry already. Instead of having to wait there at the end like it just did. So if I backspace, maybe I can make it happen again. No, no. All right, go back out. Back in. And when we get close, especially on the first time you get close, because right now all the state is cached, so it loads faster, but you could see it loading in there. And also a little bit of stuttering. I want to be able to artificially fake the camera position for the intention of calculating LOD here. I want to be able to like set the camera position on the planet that it's calculating LOD for to the end point of the warp, and then I should have a smooth warp transition at like full detail, right? Like if now back out. If I go into warp mode and I warp in, and as soon as I press this button, I set the camera to the location that I was going to go to, then it would have already loaded all this geometry. Like, it wouldn't be updating. And then when I release it and I'm in the position that I said I was going to go to, I can let it start calculating lot based on the camera again. But to do that, I need a link between this blueprint and the gravity influence sphere blueprint, which right now they're separate entities. So I have to combine those together. But there's other stuff that needs to be managed there as well. Like, this is the thing that would manage water and also manage the atmosphere for the planet. So it's going to do a lot of stuff. Um, I'm not sure I want to start that right now or not, though, because it's a lot. What did I say I was going to do? Okay. I did say I might start it, so I guess we can spin one up. Let's just spin one up. But I did spin one up. Okay, great. Okay. Those are the three things that we'll be orchestrating for the beginning of it. This is probably a good stopping point because if I get into this, it's going to be hours probably of face grinding. I have a couple things I need to do, so I'll hop off for a bit. So, yeah. See you later. See ya.